Ooga fucking ooga cunts, welcome to the cunt stream. Tonight I have a veteran, Ace of Skull, a Dominican, first generation immigrant, Darnell Henriquez.
Wait, wouldn't I just be national citizen?
I, I don't know. Are your parents immigrants?
Yes.
Then I think you're both. Sorry, not a first generation immigrant, a first generation American.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got Kadunt, who I believe is the same, only she's Filipino.
Yeah. My mom immigrated here, but I was born in Hawaii.
There we go. Oh, okay. Kind of still immigrating, in my opinion. Hawaii's barely your country.
Hawaii, the Florida of the West.
And then we got Ian Miles Chong, who is some type of Asian. Malaysian?
Chinese, yeah.
Chinese?
Yeah.
Then we're going to talk some immigration.
Good times.
So, well, what's with the fucking
minority stream?
Exactly. I'm the only. Actually, Ace is just a veteran. He's white too.
But the diversity is lacking. Where's our black guy?
Oh shit! We forgot a black guy.
Aren't white people a minority in the world?
Wait,
you know?
No, wait, but Samaj, you're dressed as a monkey. Technically,
the fuck did you just call me?
Where's Samaj? I didn't know Samaj was in here. Where's Samaj?
You both look the same.
Dude,
that's racist right now. Let's start.
You assumed his species. You assumed his species. You assumed he was human. He's actually a Harambe. He identifies as Harambe.
Yeah, what, Ian? I guess you and I are related. Obviously, we look exactly alike because we're both Ching Chong.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
guys actually do look strikingly similar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Good times.
So, Ian, what's up with these children in cages we keep hearing about?
Oh, well, first of all, the picture that's circulating throughout the media, throughout social media, well, it's not real. Obviously, it's a real picture, but it's not a real thing. It was a protest. Correct. There's a protest about this very subject, and it's being used to fearmonger. It shows a child crying in a cage. Well, you know, those tears are crocodile tears, first of all. And secondly, it's not really a cage. They are out in public and protesting and carrying signs, but you don't see that because you only see the child.
Okay, so that would be the one where when you see it zoomed out, you can see the kid in the crowd with all the signs, and then also there's a picture of him outside the cage, just running around.
Yep.
And there's another one where it shows two children sleeping in what appears to be a pen, right? A cage, a pen. And, that's in 2014 under Obama. Pretty sure Trump wasn't president back then.
No, I'm pretty sure 2016 came after 2014. It's not lining up for Trump to be responsible for that.
I'd seen one that was 2016 before, but it was just a small article that I had seen. I have no real context.
But I mean, regardless of the cages, there is the actual legitimate issue of these children being separated from their parents, right? We were talking about it a little bit before. I'd like to start with Kadunt's opinion on it.
I'm not a fan of this situation. Personally, I don't agree with taking the children, and separating them from their parents, kind of thing.
Yeah, it seems like something that is clearly wrong. But you were asked before, Kadunt, and you gave the same answer I would give. Can you think of anything better, a better solution to this?
I mean, if you want to detain the families, I guess the only thing is, I wouldn't take and separate the children from their families. If you're worried about the safety of these children being with a whole bunch of other possible negatives if you're going to detain all of them together kind of thing. And then I can understand as to why. It's still one of those things that like I don't know. It just bothers me to think of the whole situation, you know?
It brings up two issues for me. You don't want kids to be separated from their family. So the first issue, right? And now that's terrible and everything, but the first issue is how do you determine if those kids actually belong to their parents? Are those really their parents? None of them have any documentation. Keep that in mind. So how do you determine that? That's the first issue, right?
That seems like a pretty massive issue.
It's a massive issue, yeah. It's a big issue, and it's been, a problem in the past and in the present. And the second issue is Democrats are not okay with even detaining the children, right? They're saying you shouldn't separate the children from their parents because that's bad and all. So if the children are born in America, then obviously they're Americans. And they're saying, well, you can't separate them, so you can't put them in a separate facility where they'll be safe from adults. So they want to put them together with the parents. And then it becomes an issue of why are you detaining the children? So the issue here is, does having a kid with you give you a free pass to become an American? Yeah.
Not just that. You got to think there's also kids who in the past couple of years who have been making the journey by themselves. So then what do? They definitely don't have any family. And like you were saying, can you determine that is their parent? Well, if they just come over here and they're like, yeah, you could act like my dad or mom, and they came over here by themselves, what do you do with them at that point?
Exactly. So many loopholes, so many issues to address.
Yes, and there's way too many problems when it comes to all of this, and with the kids that are coming here by themselves, like that presents yet another issue as to Ian. You had brought up the Alien Gonzalez thing. He was over here in America, like he'd gotten over in America, and he was pretty much by himself, and he was taken in by like a foster family kind of thing. That wasn't his actual birth family. And then all of a sudden, his Cuban father was saying like, give me back my child, blah, 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 blah. And that's when that whole scenario and that whole situation had gone down, was because people had gone in to pretty much rip him out of that already established home. But it's again one of those things, like, do you keep those children who are immigrating here by themselves? Like, what do you do with them? Do you try and find a way to just send them back because you don't want them immigrating here in general, no matter the situation that they're living in? Or do you find a way to throw them into the foster system, which is already piled up enough as is and backed up enough and not run well, and not a very healthy environment to put a child in general, considering how many fucked up people wind up getting passed as foster parents. You get the lucky ones every once in a while, but like, if we're going to be honest, looking at the foster care system, it's a fucked system.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's a mess up situation, and you have to weigh which is the lesser of two evils. One is to put them in a foster home, in a foster care, and let the system shoulder the burden, meaning taxpayers. And I hear myself repeating. Someone's got their speakers on. And the second issue, the second option is to send them back to a certain doom, right? They could be, if they come from a war-torn country, or if they come from just a poor place in general. You're sending a 10-year-old back to God knows where. You don't know who their parents are. You just send them back there because that's where they came from. Well, they're dying. They're going to die. Once they I've read a story recently of a guy. He came to America as a kid. Parents arrived illegally, so did him. So did he, rather. And many years later, he became an adult. He got deported. Within 1 month, he died. He got killed across the border in Mexico because he didn't know anybody there, obviously. Tragic story.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to compare it to fucking animals released into. Never mind. I was gonna say something about being released into your natural habitat after 2 months.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, depending on the area. I mean, if you release them to Juarez, Mexico, they're gonna die. They're gonna get killed by a cartel, or they'll be recruited, turned into a soldier, maybe a child soldier, maybe an adult soldier, right? Mm-hmm. So fighting the cartel as someone who takes bullets, literally takes bullets. They give you a pistol that maybe beat you for a month, and then say, "Hey, here's a gun. Go shoot somebody else. Support us, or we'll kill you." I mean, that's usually what happens to young people, orphans, in places like Juarez. Drug wars, hell.
But here comes another quandary, if you will. If we decide, okay, well, if they're kids, like, sure, even though they're not citizens, we'll find a way to integrate them into the American society and get them their citizenship and all of that jazz.
It's a lot.
What's your age break at that point? Like, you throw them into the foster care system because you're like, well, we don't want the kid to die. What's your age break at that point? Because especially if you're talking about like by a certain age, kids can become dangerous. And they'll start joining like these bad things, that can happen, at a lot of different ages. And then if it's not, then it's like, okay, so we're going to give a pass to them. But what about the rest of the people who, like, say an elderly woman, escape because she's like, I'm just trying not to die kind of thing. And if she goes back, there's for sure that whole, oh, she's going to die. Like, it's one of those kind of quandaries. Like, what is the limit if you're going to allow one section in, and then why the other section? Or if you're not going to allow any of them, then you're okay with the moral choice of, I know you're probably going to die and you have a high chance of dying, but I'd rather you not be in my country. I'd rather you go and die than be in my country illegally.
Yeah, that seems inhumane, right?
That's part of the quandary that I'm talking about. Like, you don't, like, it's one of those lines, one of those limits that you're not sure of.
Yep.
And and I'm not saying like you specifically. I'm just saying, I know, like, you mean in general. Yeah. I apologize. Yeah.
No, I understood it. I think it's easy for people to shut off the empathy valves and be like, well, they're illegals, if they're in the country, and tough titties, right? If they have a bad luck and they get killed, them's the breaks, right? It's easy to think like that when you're not one of these people, or you don't know one of these people, and many of them are, and I'm sure good people. So it's easy to say that, but it's also not very practical to say, oh yes, we welcome all the illegal immigrants to our country, and we accept all refugees, because in doing so, you're actually destabilizing your own country, right? You're changing the demographic makeup of your country. And some people might say, oh, that's great, open borders for all. Maybe for them, maybe for Democrats who want that illegal immigrant vote. Like in California, that's going to happen, right? Within 15 years.
Illegal immigrants can't vote. And
no, out in California, they've given at least a million driver's license to illegal immigrants. So yes, they can vote.
Yep, California can vote, and it's also being proposed in places like Massachusetts. So it's a big issue. Right now, it might not seem like a big issue. Right now, you're thinking, well, it's just 1,000 people. What's a big deal, right? No, it's going to be a big issue in 15 years when they start voting, for socialist policies, because many of them are being raised as, in a socialist environment, essentially, where they're taught these things.
No, I going back to what Ian was saying before, what I think a lot of people don't get is the people that are anti-immigration. It's not always, at least. I wouldn't even say most of the time, that they don't feel bad for these immigrants. You're trying to flee a shitty country. You finally get to America, and you get turned back at the border, or you get arrested or something like that. I feel for you. You were trying to better your life, but that doesn't mean we should just fucking let you in.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Causes crime, first of all. Now, I'm not saying, oh, immigrants are more prone to crime. Well, actually, they are. I'm saying that because they don't come necessarily from the same culture as you do. Let's say they all come from a place like Africa, one of the countries in Africa, where crime is rife. There is no law in these places. They come over, they don't fit into your local culture. Right? This is what we're seeing in Europe, where they don't fit into the local culture. They terrorize the local citizens with their own ideas of justice, their own ideas of what it means to be an adult in a Western civilization, and that usually means suppressing women. None of that's okay, and that's what's being invited into these countries. It changes everything, the whole demographic makeup, the culture, even religion is getting a shift, right? Depending on who you invite in. It's always a good idea to practice discriminatory immigration policies, like Singapore does. They only let in people from certain countries, people from Western Europe, for example, or Malaysia, because Singaporeans and Malaysians are pretty much culturally identical. People from Australia, New Zealand, all invited to come in. People from America invited to come in. You can be any race, it doesn't matter. They just want you to be able to fit in culturally. And it makes sense. That's why Singapore is a great country.
It's something I've said repeatedly. Ethnic nationalism is pretty dumb. Civic nationalism makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Hell yes, it does. I'm not even a statist, by the way. Right?
I totally missed like half of what you said because I had gotten a phone call and it kicked me out of the Hangouts.
Terrific.
So I apologize, but
yeah, I was talking about Singapore and how they practice discriminatory immigration policies, meaning you can only come from certain countries. They only invite you if you're from Western Europe or actually Europe in general's fine, right? Unless it's like Tajikistan or something. America's fine, Canada's fine, Malaysia's fine. Certain parts of Southeast Asia, not everywhere. If you can't fit in, they don't want you, and it makes sense. You don't want to spend money and time trying to educate people who are never really going to be integrated unless they were born there. And even in places like France, they tried this experiment with the North Africans. Invited all of them over after the war, right? And they don't integrate very well. Even the ones who were born in France, they may speak French, but they're not culturally French people. They are raised in banlieues, right? They are like projects. They are these little ghettos, right? That the government set up for them because they're poor and they can't afford housing. They don't integrate well into French, the French populace in general. They don't have that same culture, that European culture. And this is not an issue of race. I'm sure many of them integrate. Many of them do. The upper classes, the middle classes. But poor people, they usually keep amongst themselves. That's an issue. That's an issue in America where you get a bunch of people immigrating from different countries. And, you can see how well the Chinese people from Taiwan or Hong Kong and the Indians, right? They integrate very well into American community. They have pretty much the same culture apart from like food, right? But you don't see people from Somalia integrating very well. The reason for that is because they come from a completely different culture. They're poor to begin with, and that is not necessarily their fault. It's not a race issue. It's just a cultural issue for the most part.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things is if you cannot integrate into the culture, then in a way, you're upheaving the sense of culture that has already been established and has shown that it works in, say, first world countries, and you come from a third world country where you're like, well, no, what we do is we sell our kids off for sheep because that's how we get That's how we are able to get food, because we grow these crops, but we don't have the meat kind of fucking thing. And so like,
No, well, 1 second, Kadun.
it's always a
I'd
culture
just like
thing.
to say to anybody watching, if you think that's a racist description of arranged marriages, look into it. That's essentially what it is. It's selling your fucking kids.
Yeah, I mean, even in India, which isn't considered like really third world, mind you, it's still got lots of issues, but there's still arranged marriages going on. There's still the dowry, you know, the setting, which is fucking medieval as shit. Like this is medieval shit that people still do in some of these other countries because it's their way. It's what they do. And can you imagine bringing that into a first world country? You know, that then
it's not compatible.
And no, and that's not how this would work. And if you're gonna raise your kid with that same mindset of, well, I'm gonna tell you who you're gonna marry, and then all of a sudden this kid is gonna go to our schools where they're like, well, no, what you do is you have to prepare yourself for when you get married. Like it's not a positive thing to bring. And there are so many, it's the old dog, new tricks, you know, kind of rule where there's some people who are just so set in their ways that they will not move forward from what they know in their culture. You know, just like with the
you can take Sally Mae out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of Sally Mae.
Exactly. You ain't sticking her in a fucking mansion and expecting a proper lady.
And Schmeckel, you said something about, you know, people who are anti-immigration. I wouldn't say they're so much anti-immigration. They want them to be empowered to go back and fix their own fucking country. Like that's part of a big thing in like that group.
That's exactly what I meant by that. The people that they consider anti-immigration, they look at it as these people hating these immigrants.
Yeah, it's not even anti-immigration as much as it's anti-illegal immigration.
Yeah, my Mexican family pretty much does not like illegal immigration because they were all here legally, even though, you know, I could go back and talk about the illegal members of my family who have been dead for a long time, but they're Mexican. They speak Spanish. They got the brown skin. They're all much shorter than me.
And they vote Republican, am I right?
Huh?
They vote Republican, your family.
No, my family is an assortment of I don't know what the fuck is going on. I've got anarchists, I've got Democrats, I've got Republicans. It's so fucking confusing when it comes to that side of the family.
Diversity of thought.
Any black people in your family, Brockus?
A few.
Any Asian people in your family?
A few.
Not married into. I mean, like, you know, like.
You've seen Brockus's fucking nose. He's got some black in there.
Bloodline wise, yes, we do have some black. Asian,
he's had some black in his ass.
But Asian, we don't. Maybe I might have. You don't know.
You've seen his dick, Kadun.
Stop talking about that time I went out and hung out with those cats.
He has all the best parts.
He's got a woman's dick.
Yo. A lot of stuff is happening today, right, with regards to the immigration. There are multiple people on the Secret Service's watch list today because they are threatening Republicans over this whole issue. There was one guy, he was arrested after he threatened a congressman, threatened to kill a congressman and kill his family, right?
That one fat old guy. I saw his mugshot there. But that's a good
There's
segue
another one
into,
just now. There's another one just now.
Oh.
Yeah. A manhunt is underway for 26-year-old Sean Christie of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. He is accused of threatening to kill President Trump. He's a 26-year-old guy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
See, I thought the fucking Peter Fonda shit was bad.
No, it gets worse. Antifa, and I saw this last night. I see it today. It's not been deleted by Twitter yet. And it's not been deleted by GitHub, which is where it was. It was deleted on Medium where it was first posted, so good on Medium for deleting it. But it's elsewhere now. It's an Antifa list of ICE agents and their families compiled using LinkedIn. And it's blasted all over Twitter.
Shit, I did see some people posting, I think it was the head of ICE's number. Was it Splinter, I think?
Yeah, and that's not the only one. There's all of them have been doxxed. Anyone with a LinkedIn account, their families, all in danger now.
And see, that's for the side that has traditionally preached peace and all that.
Oh yes.
These are some bad moves. It's a bad look. And again, it's not all of them, but
no, it's a handful. But
it's a good number of the famous ones.
Enough to be dangerous. And it's insane. It was, I believe, that particular tweet was retweeted. The Antifa tweet was retweeted by Evan Rachel Wood, a Hollywood actress. You know, she's in Westworld.
Okay, I thought I knew the name. The brunette.
Yeah.
And then there's people like Peter Fonda. Like Smeckle. Like you know what Peter Fonda had said.
Yeah, Peter Fonda. There were a couple nice quotes. The first one I caught was I can't actually screen share right now. Shit.
You can read it out.
Somebody says to him, "With you, 100%, except for surrounding their kids' schools. But you're not far off the mark. Let's target the agents' bosses, protest Trump hotels, boycott businesses that donate to GOP first." This is in response to a tweet that was already deleted by the time I saw this one. But he responds to that with, "Sounds great. We don't have to take the agents' kids. We only need to surround their schools and scare the shit out of them. And worry the fuck out of the agents from CBE, ICE, and regular Border Patrol agents. We need to scare the fuck out of them. Need to make their children worry now."
And that's not all. For $29.99, if you dial right away, you get this tweet. Right? We should rip Barron Trump from his mother's arms and put him in a cage of pedophiles and see if his mother will stand up against the giant asshole she's married to. 19 million people in the streets on the same weekend in the country. Fuck!
Hi, I came to Barron Trump to Baskin Robbins and like set the pedophile cage on fire.
I came to weigh in on the side of fuck those kids. Not literally, not with penises. Like,
don't throw them in cages with pedophiles.
I wouldn't care if you. I wouldn't care if you did throw those fucking kids on the border in cages with anybody. It's not my responsibility, and I'll tell you why. Approximately 435,000 children in foster care and government care in the United States, and no one gave a fuck about these kids during the Obama administration. So don't try to tell me this outrage about the children isn't 100% politically motivated. Last week it was the children with school shootings, but we already done fucking forgot about that, and that was going to be the end of the world. It's going to kill every child in America. Shit, there are 200,000. And some change American parents who have been separated from their fucking kids.
You're cutting off.
Said they're...
That's on your end now.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Wait. A lot of these parents... A lot of these parents are separated from their kids because their parents broke the law. And you know what we say about that? Their parents put them in that fucking situation. How dare those fucking parents be that irresponsible to do that? If your problem is with the system and you want to dismantle the CPS and family services and family court system and social services and prisons, cool. Then you're not a fucking hypocrite. But if your huge concern is for people who threw kids into the exact same system that the rest of us live by, broke the law, and now you want special rules because they got caught breaking the law while simultaneously turning a blind eye to American citizens that are separated from their fucking children every day, you are a hypocrite. And don't tell me it's about the children, because I've never seen this kind of fucking daily outrage for dads separated from their kids. The CPS is being used as a weapon for sperm parents hurting each other all the time. People's kids are going into foster care or for going to prison all the time. And it's because it's not because of the kids. It's because these liberals found some newfangled way to claim the current administration is run by Nazis. Your tears are nothing more than, I don't like Trump. Yeah, we know, fucking liberal hypocrites. Just admit it. But while you're at it, condemn every other administration that enacted and abide by these fucking same policies previously. Not this, but Trump could stop it, and he did this morning. Your solutions are shit, and they all equate to open the fucking borders. Every protest for foreign nationals and their kids who snuck in here is a slap on the face to the American parents who have never received 1 ounce of support from you.
Damn.
Sudden outrage and virtue signals don't make you into a good person. They actually make you a shit person. And don't cop out with all the children matter because you never fucking cared before. Fuck your outrage. If you should be outraged at anyone, it's the people who refuse to play by the rules and put their kids in that fucking situation, just like every other fucking criminal who goes to jail and gets separated from their kids, where there is no one to take care of them but the government. You're lucky they're in America where there's someone who'll fucking feed them. Business as usual. Shut up and go to work, liberals. Thank you for your time.
See, I agree with
Moist right now.
Press F.
Oh my god.
I agree with
Thank you.
90%.
Hear that shit on.
I agree with 90% of what AP said.
I am moist.
99% of what AP
Press
said.
F in chat to have.
The one thing I think he's missing on is just because there are all these other issues doesn't make this a non-issue. Yes, it's being used politically. Yes, these people only give a fuck because of how they can use it. A lot of these people are fucking hypocrites.
They're hypocrites.
Still doesn't make it.
Lauren Southern stated it perfectly. She said this 5 hours ago. She says, the whole immigrant child hysteria came out of nowhere. Border policies are enforced worldwide under every administration. When people are detained, they're typically separated from the kids. None of you wanted to dox law enforcement under Obama. None of you called for impeachment.
Ian, if I could maybe interrupt you there. Look, I'm going to add some stuff to what AP said, actually. Look, a lot of these people are being trafficked by coyotes, all right? These are drug runners and they're human smugglers, all right? They're coming in to this country illegally, probably risking their lives and maybe even being let halfway into the border, into the desert, and maybe even killed off and abandoned for basically their hard-earned cash. I mean, you're basically taking, and if they make it into the border, they might even be at the mercy of the coyotes, because you might have them tell the ICE where they're at and take them out. I mean, what are we going to do with these people? I mean, there's going to be some exceptions where you can throw them into daycare, you know, what is basically amounts to daycare, but you can't really do that. I mean,
I just left for effect. That was a dope monologue, though, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. No, one of the things that you had actually said, AP, about CPS being used to pretty much like it almost feels like a manhunt at times to just because fucking the CPS agents, a lot of them actually do get some money, like a little extra pay when they're able to rehome a child.
There's a whole show full of dirty CPS shit, but I'd also like to say luckily I have never been investigated by the CPS, nothing like that. But we all know someone whose ex, they got a divorce or something, and they used the CPS as a fucking cudgel to beat their ex over the head with. And if we all know someone that's happened to, it's not a statistical anomaly. We also know somebody whose kids have been fucked with by the government. And player one is 100% correct. You know what they do out of Guatemala is they'll put random people with kids and use the kids as the fucking crowbar to get them in the fucking door in America. These aren't even their kids in a lot of fucking cases. And you can look up a lot of news on that. I'm sure Ian's heard about that fucking shit, and Juan knows about it too. He's about to bring it up.
Yes, and I'm even going to bring up some other stuff. I mean, if these kids, if you get them, at least if you get them in the right age range, you can at least indoctrinate them into the American system, the American way of thinking. But if you get them too old, they're going to end up being criminals after they get out of child care. It's a losing battle if it's too late. I mean, and even if they stay in Mexico, they're probably going to join up the drug cartels and start killing. And if they fail some kidnapping or something, they'll end up in some website being decapitated. And I know because I've seen this shit on actual deep web servers. I mean, it's insanity. And to add to the something that I can't remember who said, somebody said something about immigrants leaving over here to something, but I'm going to add this. Look, right now, the biggest problem facing Latin America is the brain drain. We have all these young people, because I see this every day when I go out. It's almost like a ghost town where I'm living at. It's almost a lot of old people. A lot of them are passing away. A lot of college kids are leaving, or if they stay, it's really just working these really remedial jobs, like going to the mall and working in some dumb shop or some fast food just to make money to make even. A lot of those people are supposed to be the driving force, the economic driving force of the future. But now you have all these people living to the United States, and it's basically a pressure valve to sort of not have any sort of reform down here. It's god awful, and frankly, it's an ethical question because you also have the government dangling citizenship over these DACA recipients and all these other people who come here on some visa, some joke, you know. You're risking that they become the property of whatever company or whatever they start working as for pennies, basically.
Mm-hmm. There's a bit of breaking news now. President Trump has just signed an executive order ending the separation of families by detaining parents and children together at the border.
God damn it.
So what's that going to entail? Are we gonna keep the parents and families together and kick them the fuck out, or are we going to incentivize people to come here, drop babies, so we can't?
No, they both get kicked out.
Kick them the fuck out.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's a package deal.
Let the kid keep their goddamn citizenship, but keep them with their parents. Kick both out.
Yep, and it should be, and you know what? If you have a kid with American citizenship, it should help fast track you.
It should.
Yeah, so you know what? I'll even give them a fucking bonus when it comes to legally immigrating to the fucking country. Yeah. I'm not against people coming here, but you can't deny the litany of problems that comes with undocumented immigration. Take a trip to South Texas with me one of these times. Just come hunting with us one of these times and come scare a few Mexicans out of a deer blind. You know what I mean? You'll see how fucking thick they are down there, man. How many people are coming over the border and all this trash on your fucking land and human shit in the middle of your fucking deer. Like, dude, all you want to do is go down there and hunt fucking deer. Not have a charity shelter.
In Southern California, like, what's it? We have. I can't go into a fucking restaurant without seeing a fucking sign in Spanish that says, "Please don't throw your shitty toilet paper in the trash can. We have like working plumbing and shit." You know,
I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo the whole Mexican people, but like,
no. But it is a thing. It's a thing, and they keep. But we need some form of fucking fixing the fucking system that's going on, and we need some form of fucking a better vetting process than what's going on, because like there's a lot of fucking bullshit people who can come in with fake shit. I actually know a guy who came from Nicaragua who has a fake green card and fake social security number, and he was able to pass through and go through. He came in illegally, and he was able to make it through and do all this shit up until he got married, and then all of a sudden he got married to an American citizenship.
There's a huge black market for that paperwork right now in Latin America. A huge black market for it. There's they wrote an article yesterday on it. And by they, I mean the Jews.
And that's another big issue when it comes to anybody who's fucking.
The left is still not happy. The left is still not happy with Trump's signing this executive order, because it's, instead of family separations, it's now family detainment. Oh, we got to have open borders. Fucking Vox.
Oh, just wait until the Schindler's List style Mexican movie comes out. It's gonna be dope, dude. They're gonna get Cheech Marin in there, dude. It's gonna be like Born in East LA too. Born in Cheech's List.
Cheech's List.
God.
I mean, they're not happy.
I'm
reading about it right now.
You can't have giant processing camps. You just got to kick motherfuckers over the border. And the reason I say that is,
as soon as you can. Expedite the process. Do not stall. Do not wait fucking months and years to kick them out. Come on.
Exactly, dude. We've made those mistakes with the camps before. Germany did it. We did it in the 40s. With the Japanese people, you don't do that. Don't make camps and hold people, imprison them. Take them back to their own fucking country. And if Mexico thinks they can do it better, they've got all these criticisms. Take care of those people. If you think we aren't taking care of them the right way, give them all the welfare we were going to
treat them worse.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems really fucking ridiculous when we hear Mexico complaining about how we treat their illegal immigrants.
Considering how they treat their own.
You guys treat them.
No, Mexico doesn't care. Mexico actually has something in their constitution that says the number of Mexicans has to be higher than the number of immigrants or something like that.
Yeah, it's in the constitution.
We've got a lot of more Mexicans we can send them, so they can become a more diverse nation and have more immigrants.
I will say something though.
To leftism. It's awesome.
I will say one thing though. While you were talking, about the concentration camps, you mentioned the Japanese American camps, and then you put it in the same sentence as just kick them all back. I don't think it's fair to the Japanese Americans, because they were Americans and not really Japanese, right?
It is not a parallel comparison. You are absolutely right. It is a totally different. I'm just talking about camps. Camps is the only thing I'm comparing there.
Same with it, like the Jewish Germans, you can't kick those people out. They're citizens there for like fucking 500 years. So
you're absolutely right. I don't contest that one dump it.
Yeah, it's a different situation.
Japanese were victims. These people are criminals. There's a difference.
Yep, they're criminals. It's straight up. They're criminals, and America's not a bad country. It's the reason why everybody wants to move to America. This is the thing. People are saying America's just like Nazi Germany. Well, no one wanted to fucking move to Nazi Germany. People are running away from Nazi Germany. The only people who landed up in camps were those who couldn't leave fast enough because they didn't have the money, the transportation means. They were turned away from other countries. That's why they got rounded up in camps. So that's fucked up, right? Whereas in America, everybody wants to become an American. That's the big difference. You cannot, I'm not saying you, but people in general, cannot compare America to Nazi Germany. Come on. Why would anyone want to move to Nazi Germany? Jesus, that doesn't make any sense. Just like a beautiful place.
Just like anywhere it's cool to move into, or go to for that matter. Let's say an amusement park. There's got to be a penalty for sneaking in. Otherwise, you're fucking all the people that paid.
Exactly. Well, you got to have a ticket.
Fucking Ian said the same goddamn thing before we started, AP.
Yeah, Schmeckel fucking touched on this and I'll fucking say it right now for anybody watching. If you think that fucking America is bad, like for their penalties for crossing the border,
get the fuck
look
out.
at fucking Mexico and Canada and what they fucking say. Like our shit is fucking light compared to theirs.
No, you guys were saying it wrong. They don't want to become Americans. They just want to move to America. There's a huge fucking difference.
They just want McDonald's and welfare and shit. They don't necessarily want.
I tell you what. It depends on them. It depends on who, right?
Something I brought up earlier in the pre-stream, and I'm sorry, Ian, but something I brought up earlier in the pre-stream was that there's a lot of people who fucking immigrate here because they know they can get the money, and then guess where they take the money back down to their fucking to where they came from.
Economic drain.
The guy that I was talking about from Nicaragua, he's like, yeah, I'm just working my ass off here because I know I can make the money here, and then once I have all that money, I'm going back to Nicaragua and living like a king because the U.S. dollar is worth so much more.
It's a smart thing to do. It's a hustle. It's a hustle, right? But you can't let them have this fucking hustle. It is a exploitative thing to do to the country that's hosting you.
Yeah. It makes us have less money and them have more, and they suck, so we should have all the money.
Why the fuck would you do that? Yeah, there's no reason.
I can completely see going to a country where you can make proper money and sending that money back home to your family that couldn't come over with you. If you do it legally.
Yeah, if you do it legally, that's good for you. Whatever, right? Do what you want. Well, you're doing it illegally, you're basically being a drain. You're being a parasite.
If you paid the couple $100 and filled out the fucking paperwork to get a fucking work visa and you lived in Juarez and came over the border to do a fucking American job every day, no one would ever give you shit. People do it every fucking day. Thousands of Mexican citizens do it every fucking day.
We got a lot of gas station owners who, they'll have the gas station for a while and then they won't pay their taxes. And then as soon as the station shut down, they sell it to a cousin. And then that cousin does the exact same thing and then sells it to another cousin.
I think it's a silly argument. Last week it was guns, and this week it's orphans and camps. It's all.
What about the Ching Chongs?
What about a Ching Chong? I know plenty of Ching Chong people who came here illegally and now own businesses.
I like where AP was going. If we give the orphans guns, there will be less of them in camps.
Holy shit!
I have a suggestion.
That's exactly where AP was going.
Guys, I have a suggestion. Real life Fortnite. Real life PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Real life Battle Royale. Just put them on an island, have them shoot each other. Whoever wins gets to stay.
Oh my god!
Winner gets citizenship.
Had the fucking purge.
Winner gets to live in Gulf City.
Ian, do you want to come? Do you want to come be the guest Saturday night on Saturday night streams for the big finale, man? Fucking us. We've got to bring these truths.
Wait, finale.
That's right.
We've done many shutting your shit down. Shit.
What? Tyro in the chat just said we've got Ian repping Kumite, AP for Gold City.
64. It's time to do another season finale.
Trippy, a guy from Proper Villains. It's a great crossover. The only guy from Proper Villains is Brockus, right?
Yeah, no, I think those were supposed to be separate parts of the list.
I think so, but okay.
Yeah, they do have a comma between them, Trippy.
Tyro's cool.
Yeah, Tyro's good people. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do a show anymore. My mind's been blown all to shit by the Fortnite plan. I've got to go start building fucking ramps and shit. I'll catch you later. Wow.
Have a good one, AP.
Bye, later.
That's amazing.
Later.
You say real life Fortnite, but it's going to turn into real life Grand Theft Auto in like 5 minutes.
Well, and one thing that people don't readily know is if you're of the age to be in the military and you want to come over here, there is a pathway to citizenship through the fucking military. Go
They don't
join.
want to do that. That calls for having to get up and move around.
Many of them do, though. Many of them do actually do that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
No,
Yeah.
but there were plenty of people who were trying to do that, but there have been issues with that happening before, like actually like following through and shit like that.
Yeah.
That they were working on, and I don't know if
that needs to be
it's been
addressed.
fixed yet. Yeah,
I've
it really
seen.
does.
I saw protests of veterans, right? Who were, who tried to do this thing. They did the whole process. They went to Afghanistan. They went to Iraq. All these other fucked up places. They served. They did their time, basically. And still they were deported. Like, what the fuck? Like, these are the people you should be fast tracking. They should be citizens. They put in their time.
But they also committed a crime. Like, I know the ones that you're talking about, they were dealing coke and shit, and they got caught up freaking with charges. So that annulled the process of them becoming a citizen.
I think it depends also on the charge. Like, if you're dealing coke, then okay, get the fuck out, right? But if you get caught smoking weed, some of them were caught just smoking weed. Yeah, that's fucked up. I don't think you should send a person back to their country for smoking weed.
Dude, after going over to fucking like Afghanistan and Iraq and all of those fucking places and fucking dealing with all the bullshit that they had to deal with, fuck yeah, let them smoke some motherfucking weed, yo. Are you serious?
Oh, 1 second. Before we continue with that, we got $2 from Mr. LM002 saying, basically all recent presidents lack the balls to do the shit that needs to be done. Tell Mexico to go fuck itself, and if it won't secure the border on its side, pull in Israel and take over part of Mexico to make a buffer zone so we can build our wall.
So there's this
I would
this
say
picture.
pull a what was this? Hungary who did a border wall, but within their own borders, and then detained people.
Yep, that's Hungary. That's Hungary. That's Orban, the prime minister.
Okay.
He proposed building a border within the country itself to detain illegal immigrants, and then they just send them back to wherever the fuck they came from. And that's a smart thing to do. He's protecting his citizens. I support that fully.
That was such a cool idea.
Yeah. No, it's
happening though, Ian. Miles Chong, the guy who plays video games, talks about politics and stuff.
Not much.
I subbed to your channel back when you were playing Friday the 13th with Vamp and them.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I have a Twitch now, but I'm thinking of doing... Now, I'm just going to float this idea by you guys. What do you think of me doing commentary on YouTube? 10-minute videos per day, something like that.
I watch that.
You should probably be completely original and just do videos about how there's a bedroom feminist that you need to yell at. Nobody's ever done that before.
No, see, Ian, you pump out articles basically daily, yeah?
Yeah, but I haven't been writing lately, so I'm thinking of just doing video.
Man, do both. Turn your fucking articles into videos. Same topic, two different media. You'll pull in a larger amount of viewers and readers and shit that way.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yell at you and call you wrong, even though they probably don't know what they're talking about, on 2 different platforms.
Oh, yeah. Happens
That
all the
works,
time.
man.
On 3 different platforms. You add Twitter.
Oh, there you go. And probably Discord, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. That sucks,
Yeah.
but, whatever. I mean,
Do an article about why crop dusting in the middle of a toy aisle at any store is
so fun.
actually fucking amazing, because
Yeah.
when you
Or a
watch
dollar
a kid
store.
run by and gag on your own fucking crop dust, it's fucking...
Brockus, not all of us are as large as
you.
Dude, I farted in a kid's face one time. I didn't even realize it because you...
Brockus, the other day you were accused of being a fucking child abuser. Is this really a story you want to tell right now?
Yeah. This is like the best.
Shoot your head.
Oh.
I might be a child abuser. I don't know.
No. A fart abuser.
Okay.
Just
I don't want to rewrite that now.
There's more than one story of me accidentally farting in a kid's face. Some of it was intentional, and honestly, it was my cousin. So fuck it, I don't care.
The fuck
Okay,
are you doing, man? Don't admit this on live stream.
I just love the fact that the thing that's going to be taken out of context, it's not going to be us talking about illegal immigrants. It's going to be Brockis farting in kids' faces.
There you go. There's your new article.
That's
But
what
they
they
consented.
want to see, baby.
They consented, or they wouldn't have had their face so close to Brock's ass.
Brockis won't stop farting in kids' faces.
I'm sending Ian your real name. Yeah, you're getting noted for this.
Shelly.
Donald Trump just released a very trolly video on his Twitter account.
That's good for him.
It had a bunch of quotes from people like Chuck Schumer, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton.
What's a Chuck Schumer? Isn't it Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, Schumer, yeah.
sorry.
And Obama talking about illegal immigration and how it's a problem. And his caption is, "Don't worry, the Republicans and your president will fix it." He's a really good troll.
You know what's really, really sad? You Americans here, your country is going to shit. You have a president who ain't all that intelligent. You got two very dumb extremes on either side of your politics. And you're still doing better than any other country out there.
How dare you call my
Let's go ahead and turn that on the Canadians. You've got a prime minister who is a giant fucking pussy who will cave into anyone who throws a bitch fit his way. You've got those exact same extremes on a level that really is fucking with your government's laws, and you're doing just a little bit better than the UK.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, you guys have all these issues. We have some worse issues, and there's still
better than most
out there
countries
that are supposed to be first world countries.
Yeah,
that have it worse.
Actually, as far as I'm concerned, this is business as usual for me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, are we really surprised that people don't like our president? That there are extreme retards on either side of the fucking argument, and that we are surprisingly doing much better than most countries? Is it really that surprising? We've been doing this for a long time now. As long as I've been alive.
You guys have not been doing the whole country thing as long as a lot of countries.
Yeah.
But despite your retard president, you're doing better than most of those countries.
Retard presidents. Let me just go ahead
Retard
and
presidents. Yes, you've had a couple at this point.
A couple?
No. You want to know? You want to know? You want to know what it is? Do you want to know what it is? It's because of our government, our shitty, mind you, which is still going fucking pretty shitty because people always forget to stop and think about Senate and Congress. But our president only has so much power. That's what everybody always fucking forgets.
You think he's a dictator, but he's not.
They only have so much power. They're just more the face. And mind you, for a few years now, we've had a really retarded face representing the rest of America. But they're just a face. The real power in our government, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the people because the people have the power to vote. Well, then fucking vote for better fucking
the real
congressmen.
fucking power is Congress.
Vote for better fucking senators. Vote for better fucking people. Like people are so they don't vote enough, and we need term limits on our fucking senators and our
You
fucking
need term limits.
Wait. You don't?
Not for them. Nope.
Not for them.
There can be lifers.
Yeah, Americans do not have term limits.
You would think that there should be a term limit for anybody that's voted into office.
You would think, right? The only people who have term limits are presidents, but congressmen do not have term limits. So you have some ancient motherfuckers there who are in the 90s.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, there's actually at least, I think,
not even the worst guy. Yeah, he's a neocon, but I mean, what's the name of that black woman? The one who's like always winning. No, I'm not talking about Condoleezza. I'm talking about Democrat.
Maxine
Waters. Thank you.
Feinstein.
Yeah, Feinstein and Maxine Waters, insane women, right? Insane. Waters more so than anyone.
The Reagan administration.
Crazy.
I swear to God, there are at least two people that have been in Congress since the fucking early 80s.
That would be Bernie Sanders.
I think Cheney was one.
Yep, Cheney.
Cheney's been around for a long fucking time. That's why why I said his name, not any other
motherfucking
reason.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Can I also point out one other fact that not a lot of American citizens are aware of? When anyone in our government system, when they retire, when they decide they're done, we're still paying them, just not as much.
Like I know presidents still get access to the Secret Service.
No, actually, somebody had come out with information about that a few years back, and I believe there are some people that were politicians, senators, congressmen, and hell, I think even a couple of presidents who were legitimately getting twice the amount of money they were as retired when they were fucking in office and shit. So twice.
How much
they still get a motherfucking salary now that they're done.
They sit down
now that they're out. And you go ahead and tell me how many motherfucking people who can work for all of 4 years for a specific company, because there's some presidents who only do 4-year terms, the one term. There's only and then they get fucking paid out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
tell me what normal American job, and then you go ahead and
Meanwhile, you have people who fucking enlist in the military in the lower enlisted ranks. They qualify for food stamps.
I'm sorry.
Kadan, yeah, they fucking have to live off of fucking food stamps because of fucking people who are being told by these other people who are getting paid after they're out. And plenty of military people actually have to spend at least 20 years risking their lives.
Oh, look at it like this. You serve 4 years, 8 years max if you're president. If you're any other role, apparently you can serve as long as you fucking want and then retire, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at these higher roles, I don't care if you've been there for 8 years. You've been in politics a hell of a lot longer. And it's the same in a business. You look at one of the higher-ups. He might have been a higher-up for 2 years. He's been with the business for ages, right? That's why he gets his fucking his pension and all that shit. Tenure, shit like that. I can see it. If they've been with the... if they've been in politics, it seems similar to me as, I've been with the business for a long time. It seems similar to me. Obviously, not in terms of service, so nobody get offended by this, but as fucking veterans after they leave, continuing to get their pensions.
Barely.
The veterans should be getting more, and the politicians should be getting less.
Yeah, well, I think the point is that, like, I think doesn't a U.S. president make like $700,000 per year?
It's somewhere around 400,000.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're getting double that after you retired,
not all of them.
Probably an issue.
Just a handful of them. They are still alive to this day.
Probably Bill Clinton
than what they were in office.
No, and after you retire, the amount should definitely not go up. That's an issue. Once you stop working, you should not be making more money than you were when you were.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, some of these presidents, it's like, they're not doing that damn much. You know what I mean?
True. But, like, my problem with that whole system is that there are some career soldiers out there who have been through some shit. They've gone to Afghanistan. They were there during Operation Sandstorm. They've seen some crazy fucking shit over the last 20, 30 years and stuff like that, and they've been in the military for a long time. And if you look at their lives, they might sometimes, the higher ups, the captains, generals, and majors, all them, the officers, they can make a relatively decent life for themselves being a career soldier and everything like that. But there are other career soldiers out there, and I've actually met a few who have no better of a life than the average fucking warehouse employee. And they have gone to fucking war. They have seen their friends get shot up. They have seen their friends die. They themselves have been fucking hurt and injured. And they have to actually live a shittier life than some fucking fat ass sitting in front of a fucking desk signing a piece of paper. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we treat our soldiers so fucking poorly, but our politicians live like kings.
It's our working. It's our working class. That's what it is. And
It's also the way politics have always worked. The politicians are equivalent to the upper class.
Not necessarily. I can go back to a lot of different cultures in the past where their greatest warriors lived better than kings.
Oh yeah, I mean there were obviously those the very specific cultures that were
centered around
caste-based and
like ancient Rome.
But the vast majority of cultures have had their politicians, and keep in mind, nobility are nothing but blood-produced politicians, right?
The first time in American history we treat our soldiers so bad, though.
You don't have to frickin' be a career soldier, quote unquote, to go through and see some crazy shit. I was only in for 5 years. I spent more time deployed than I did actually in fucking America. And I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty fucked up, and I try to help a lot of fucking soldiers out that I fucking know that are still in or have gotten out. Like, and it's amazing to me, like, how fucking shit people treat the fucking military. And, like, of course, they ask the question, did you kill anybody? Like, no, you dumb motherfucker. That's not the right question to fucking ask.
Yeah,
how are you dealing?
I did not ask him if he killed anybody. I asked specifically if he had ever killed a child.
That's still, did you kill anybody? That's, you just changed one word.
And it was in the context of a story he was telling.
And the conversation that we had is exactly what I'm saying right now. That's not the question to ask. The question to ask is, how are you dealing with it? And how can, you get through that period in your life? What are your coping mechanisms? That's the fucking question that needs to be fucking had.
I wonder if this is why we're all child abusers.
Because we
talked about it in an after stream.
How dare we have a discussion?
That's it. That's how this all started. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, but that's
but Ace is the one that killed the kid.
No, he didn't.
You don't know. Darnell could have killed the kid and not told anybody.
Oh, we all know what Darnell's done.
Okay, Darnell is a kid. He's just
the kid took his mega blocks.
You don't fuck with a man.
I haven't been talking this entire time.
You don't fuck with the Darnell's fucking mega blocks, dude. You don't fuck with his Hot Wheels. You gotta
okay, what the fuck do people think? I play comic books and replay video games all my childhood. Fuck you all.
So Darnell is the one running
GI Joes. Don't mess with them GI Joes. He's a patriot, son. He will fuck you up.
No, I play with Power Rangers. Fuck you.
Oh,
did you have the little
just won me over and plays with Power Rangers? Fuck yeah.
Did you have the Power Rangers toys where when you pressed on the belt, the head would flip around?
Oh, please, I
had the green one.
Yeah, I had the red one.
I had the red one.
I actually had the green one too.
I stole the red one from a kid.
Anyway, we got Scooby here. Scooby was very interested in popping in. What'd you have to say?
Well, I just figured I'd give you my opinion. I don't know if you were aware, where I live up over in New York, we got a real problem with MS-13. I actually got my head kicked in by a bunch of them animals about 19 years ago.
Shit.
Yeah, about 16 of them. They held me down and kicked my head in.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Fuck them. But the thing is this. We got the president coming out here. He's trying to drum up a lot of support and everything. And he had to do the thing with the kids. He had to do that executive order today. Because the problem is we got these Democrats that have been finger fucking the country for the past, 40 years or so with their immigration shit. And I say this as somebody who's, my grandmother came through Ellis Island pregnant with my father. You know what I'm saying? So my grandparents both of my grandfathers got deported. So it ain't like I got no sympathy for these folks. But look, this is the laws that these fucking Democrats put together so that we wouldn't be able to enforce them. It ain't like Trump's being the demon throwing these people out, separating them from their kids. That's just how it was. That's the reason he had to put through that executive order today. But that was the thing. I was listening to you talk about it. I just figured, I might want to, if you had any questions or anything, because I'm literally out here in the heart of it. I nearly got into a fight with a couple of them the other 2 days ago. I was up over at the Robert Moses Beach. And that's actually where MS-13 and all of them are hanging out to avoid ICE. They're at the beach in the public parks out here. My wife's a Democrat. She didn't know. She drags me there. I'm like, honey, what the fuck? I'm walking around looking. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're everywhere. And they seen the flag I got on my cane, so they tried to stall with me. You know, obviously, by the bathroom, I whip out a blade, shit goes down, whatever. It didn't go south, but, I'm sitting out there. I got my wife. We're at the beach, and these fucking animals are all over the place because they're getting driven out their neighborhoods because he's trying to crack this shit down. But you know what it is? Look, like I said, my family's pack immigrants, and it ain't like I'm showing like hate to these immigrants. My thing is this. These folks got a right to have safety in their neighborhoods and their communities. He's not going in there sending ICE in to throw out the law-abiding citizens. He's getting the scumbags. You'd think that people would be happy. It's because they got vowels in their name, and they see that they got dark skin, they got an accent. Oh, so naturally it's racist. No, look, these people are shitballs. They got tattoos of Bible verses in Spanish on their face. They got tattoos, all this shit on them. This isn't somebody that you'd have at a Baskin and Robbins. The fuck he is going to sit there and defend them for? No, fuck them. Throw them right the fuck out the country as fast as you can.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not just criminals. It is criminals because they are illegal immigrants, but it's not all just gang members and shit like that. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be fucking gone. Doesn't mean they belong here. Doesn't mean that we should allow them to come in illegally. But it's not all gang members. The gang members, the rapists, the shit like that.
Well, yeah,
those are the biggest issue.
Yeah, I know. My grandfather was a tailor. They still threw him the fuck out of here because he came in illegally. Shit happens.
Exactly, as it should be.
Look, it's not like I'm not having sympathy for him. I say it all the time. No one will cry harder than me helping them pack. No one will cry louder than me driving them to the airport. And no one is going to cry longer than me as I wave them goodbye as they fly the fuck out the country. That's just how it is.
So apparently to Will Honorless, the reason why Cadunt and myself are child abusers is because we keep dunking on Darnell. So I mean,
no. Cadunt's name wasn't brought up. I believe it was me, you, Trippy, and Zell.
It was just you four. I am not a
Cadunt. You live with Zell. You're complicit.
I think the only reason why Will was tagging Cadunt in his comment in chat is to get her attention, so she would probably be the one to actually read it. But since I'm the one being called the child abuser now, only me apparently.
You're the
no.
Well, considering the fact that you were talking about you did a drive-by on a kid, fucking gassing them.
He shouldn't have been looking at the Nerf guns.
You know what?
Just say.
Hey, no. Don't let your German roots show, and don't gas the children, okay?
By the way,
I was looking for a gift for my nephew. He should not have been there. I think he was Jewish instead. His nose was quite large.
He cyclone gassed him.
That was fucking mustard gas to that poor kid.
Oh man, I did fart one time and it smelled like very sour mustard, and I was not sure what happened there. I'm like, did I do that to people? Have I made them smell this? That's disgusting.
A Will Honorless says, "Why is Darnell here? Why is a kid in here?"
Because we surprisingly like Darnell. He is funny. He's our favorite lolcow.
He's a good.
How am I a lolcow?
It's just a joke, Dopal. Calm down.
Darnell.
Just ragging on you. I like you, Darnell. You good people.
I was actually going to say, to Scooby's argument, that very similar argument is also the Dominicans against the Haitians, because, just the equal thing happened with Haitian stripes.
I'm sorry, I missed part of what you were saying, bro. You kept going in and out.
It is, yeah. I was gonna say, is he cutting out for everybody else?
The same thing that you were saying is the same argument that a lot of Dominicans have with Haitians trying to cross the border.
Oh yeah. My neighborhood. I tell people this all the time. My neighborhood's got a huge representation of people from all walks of life. We got people here from Honduras. We got people here from Guatemala. We got people here from Guadalajara. We got people here from Dominican Republic, El Salvador. I dated a girl on each side of that fence. We got Jamaican folks here. We got Puerto Ricans. I myself am half Sicilian. You know, there's a lot of people of all different walks of life over here. Like the people who just moved in down the block from me from Bangladesh. You know, yeah, I know exactly what you mean though, because I've talked to them in the communities down there, and that's the thing. It's like a chain. The lowest country on the chain is the one that's trying to get up higher. So the next higher country bitches about that. There's refugees coming through there. It's like they're all climbing up, and they all wind up coming in through Mexico.
So Scooby, you've actually seen this. You know, you're not the only one who's seen this kind of shit, where it's absolute tribalism based on nationality.
I wouldn't say tribalism based on nationality. That's a lot of overthinking going into it. I'm just saying a lot of these folks are literally from these countries. They haven't been here more than 10, 20 years. You know, my neighborhood, there's no one here really that's over second generation American. Everyone's new Americans. Like my family, we're one of the ones who have been here the longest. We came here in the 30s. You know?
Definitely sounds like it with your accent.
And I would. I was gonna say with Hispanics, a lot of it's tribal. Well, I mean, you do see some tribal stuff, but it's more so. I don't like that other group, and you know, you just go with the stereotype.
Yeah, it's a lot of cultural nuance based on shit that they bring with them from the old country. Like I was actually I told this yesterday. I was talking to two friends of mine, two people I stream with all the time, Voice of Burnside and Irate Prostate, and I was explaining to them like about the culture that they, you know, Sicilian, my father's culture, Sicilians were very inclusive, and I explained to him. I explained to the two of them that there's three terms that they would use for the people here when they first came to this country. They used to call the blacks Molignan. They used to call the Jews Matzagrist. And they used to call the whites Madigan. Now, what those mean is what they used to call the black people Molignan. It literally means eggplant. They used to call the Jewish people Matzagrist. That means Christ killer.
Oh shit!
Damn.
But what they used to call white people was the worst. They used to call them Madigan. That means dog shit.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So,
that's great.
So I'm just saying that's like one of that's like the cultural thing with them. Like I was taught as a boy from my aunts, you know, they would always like if a cop was talking to me or something, because they were really old fashioned, they would say to me, "Pachota, omerta." And what omerta means is it's the conspiracy of silence. You don't talk to them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing. These are old women that, you know, like their husbands fought in World War II and shit, so they were like of that older generation. But they had that thing: you don't talk to the police. That was a big thing in the community. So
they got snitching before snitching was even a thing.
If you were caught as being a snitch, you can actually look this up. What they used to do was they'd cut off your dick and balls and stick it in your mouth.
Damn.
Well, yeah. That way it sent a message. You've seen The Godfather. They were all about sending messages.
Don't forget the cannoli.
Corleone.
You know, it's funny. I don't want to dominate your stream, Schmeckle, but remind me.
I'm thoroughly enjoying the fucking voice. Dominate it all you want.
Yeah.
All right. I don't. All right. Not to segue from the subject, but since she's brought up The Godfather, my father's family was from Corleone, Sicily, and they were, you know, like I said, they were new Americans. So my father was from the neighborhood in East New York, Brooklyn, and you know, he would have been 83 this year if he was still with us. And the thing of it was, he drove a cement mixer in the local 282 International Brotherhood of Teamsters. So there was a pro wrestler who also, when he retired from wrestling, because you guys remember sports celebrities and agents, athletes, they didn't get no money up until like the late 70s, early 80s when they started like the free agent shit. Yeah. So this guy was a pro wrestler, like in the precursor to the WWF in the 50s and 60s. He used to wrestle against Gorilla Monsoon. His name was Lenny Montana. He wound up playing Luca Brasi in The Godfather.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he actually, you know, and I might be slightly doxing myself, but this is just for shits and giggles. If you look on Lenny Montana's Wikipedia page, it says he died in Lindenhurst, New York. He died out front of my house. He came to visit my father.
Holy shit.
Him and my father worked together in the Teamsters. They both worked cement mixers in 282. So this is actually really funny. I told you this part first because when I tell you the second part, it's going to seem like I'm telling you two different things, but when I tie them together, it sounds nice. Check this out. The old man was a quiet man. He was, ex-Navy. He didn't talk about nothing much. So I say to him, I go, Pop, I got to stop up at the mall for something. Can I go in there? He goes like this, Pachota, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. You're not out in 10 minutes. You're taking the bus. And he would do that to me. So I'm running through the mall as fast as I can to get the shit that I need. And I'm looking at my watch. I get outside. It's 9 minutes. I'm looking around. I don't see the old man's van. Like, fuck, he left me. So I'm walking around the parking lot seeing, maybe he was in the shade, because my father used to smoke a couple of packs of cigarettes a day. I figured he was in the shade smoking a cigarette. So I'm looking all over and I look down a side street. And there's my father's van. And he's out of the van and he's like leaning up against it, like leaning across the half foot that a van has, talking to this other old man that's up on the porch. And so I'm walking up towards him and I hear that they're talking in the old tongue. I don't speak it, so I don't know what the hell they were saying. So he looks over at the guy on the porch and he says, oh, here he is now. Here's my son. So he waves me over. He says, this is my friend Mario. Say hello to him. I said, oh, hi. Nice to meet you, sir. And so I said, oh, nice to meet you, young man. And so my father says, okay, go sit in the van. And so I went and sat in the van. That was it. It's a cultural thing. You don't speak unless you're spoken to, and you get dismissed like that. So I went in the van. And so he gets back in the van, and we start driving, and we start talking, and somehow it gets brought up. And I look at him, and I go like this. He mentioned something about this old man. And I look at him, I go, Mario Puzo. He goes, yeah. I go, the guy who wrote The Godfather. He goes, yeah. I said, that was him. He goes, Nick, daughter, how many times I got to say, yeah, that was him. So I look at him, I go, you know the guy who wrote The Godfather? He said, yeah, that's Mario I've been going fishing with for the past 35 years. I look at him, I go, you're kidding me. He said, no, I'm not kidding you. I said, why didn't you ever tell me this? He goes, gives me this look. He's like, hey, no be me goyones. If I would have told you this, you would have been telling all your shitball friends in the neighborhood. They don't got to know this shit. It turned out, since before I was born, Lenny Montana, when he was talking to Mario Puzo on The Godfather, because Mario Puzo had moved out to Bayshore, and he had said to Lenny, he was looking for somebody to go fishing with. And so Lenny says, well, I got my friend Junior. His parents are right off the boat. He's old-fashioned. He goes out every Sunday after church. And so Mario Puzo started fishing with my father, I think in the late 70s. And I didn't find this out until probably about, maybe 2000, a little bit after that. He just never told me about it. He used to go fishing with Mario Puzo and with Louis Farrakhan's bodyguard. Those are the two people my father would take fishing on Sunday.
Holy shit!
I guess if that's a holy shit thing, I mean, it's common knowledge around my neighborhood.
Well, it must have been a holy shit thing for you when you found out, right?
I guess, you know what it is? You've got to remember, Christ, it's New York. There's shit like this all the time. Like, my wife, she lives like the next neighborhood over. Her hometown, her neighborhood is the hometown of Rodney Dangerfield.
I knew your fucking accent sounded familiar.
Yeah. He used to constantly come back out to the neighborhood constantly. You'd see him when you were a kid. Like, he'd be up to like the different places during the holidays. He'd be signing autographs and shit. Other celebrities we got from my neighborhood. We got the Baldwins up over here. We got Joey Buttafuoco with that fucking mook.
All the Baldwins are dead.
Sorry, I had to.
No, look. Let me think. Trying to think.
Speaking of holy shits, man, I was talking to you guys from my toilet for a minute there. From my laptop in the bathroom. Yeah.
From the throne.
Oh yeah. I muted myself because I was like.
It's a rare occasion I don't walk away from the stream and take a piss. Don't worry, you're all right.
I brought it with me.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. I leave the mic on sometimes. People have heard it picked up, but I think Roy's the only one to actually fucking carry his fucking laptop out to take a piss and forget his camera was on.
Oh shit. Well, I wouldn't do that, you know. I could have.
It's not like he had his camera pointed down at his dick or nothing. Like we could just see his face. He forgot to hit the fucking camera button.
Yo, really quick. I'm just gonna have some fun with him, but I'm gonna mute really quick. My guy just showed up. The guy I pick up reefer off of. He's a big fan of yours. I'm gonna let him see that I'm streaming with you, and he's probably gonna hit the ceiling. Just give me 2 seconds. This ought to be a rip.
Oh, Christ.
Right. Schmeckle has a big fan.
Schmeckle's got fans.
I'm just saying he has a big one.
I have multiple big fans, Trippy. Look at you, Brockus.
Not that big. I'm tall.
Well, I mean, physically, I am pretty fucking big. So.
Oh, well, I found out today I'm 243 pounds.
Oh my God! The tripod has spoken.
Ian, did you just say you have a huge dick?
He has a huge dick, and I would not be surprised if it really was huge.
You need to dox that on Twitter.
He's probably one of those ching-chongs who actually, goes against the grain when it comes to cocks.
Well, Ian is half Estonian.
No, not Estonian. Portuguese.
Portuguese. That was.
That's why.
Yeah, he's got a very large cock, but a very, very small set of balls. It's weird to look at. It's probably equally pleasurable for the woman.
He's got that Hispanic Titanic from South.
That Hispanic Titanic.
Titanic. I love that.
It's a complete
Titanic.
See what happened.
So anyway, we're gonna wrap the fuck up because we got another show going live in half an hour.
Yeah.
Before we
not safe for Wednesdays. This episode is going to be all about hentai.
Yeah, so most of you perverts in the chat will have fun with that.
I feel like I'm probably going to be in the chat talking about a lot of hentai.
Y'all should have done the foot stream for a longer period of time.
And actually, Ian, seeing as you're Asian, if you'd like to join, we'll send you the link.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah, I
appreciate the invite. I appreciate it.
Trust me, it would have been a very uncomfortable conversation. You were right to say no.
I appreciate it.
Funny for the audience
a lot. Thank you.
Anyway, tonight we had no Samaj, so I'm gonna wait. I got Brockus. Brockus, do Samaj's thing.
I came in a little late, but
just read the list of people here. I don't think there was anyone else.
No, there was AP and Outlaw as well.
Oh,
yeah, we had we've got Trippy Poop, Still Gray, aka Ian Miles Chung, Scooby, Player. What's your full name?
Player One.
Cadunt, Dopal, aka Darnell, Ace of Skulls, AP from fucking Ghost City, and of course Outlaw Bear Dog, Wolfie herself, and along with that, myself and Schmeckle.
There you go. So we're gonna shut this the fuck down. We'll be back in like half an hour with
clean your cocks, clean your cunts.
Exactly, and remember, as always, praise be to the Lord Sniggles. Rinse and repeat.